Have you ever felt it, that prickle of unease? A shift in the air when certain people are around. It's a feeling many of us experience, especially as we navigate the later chapters of life. Suddenly, relationships that once felt solid can become clouded, leaving us confused and sometimes deeply hurt. It's a painful reality to acknowledge, isn't it? The thought that someone, perhaps even someone close, might harbor a secret resentment towards you. This isn't about outright hostility. It's far more subtle, a quiet undercurrent that can erode your peace of mind. But what if there was a way to understand these hidden currents, to see the unseen? The brilliant psychologist Carl Jung offered profound insights into the human psyche, and his wisdom can shine a light on these very situations. He understood that what often appears on the surface isn't the whole story, and that many negative reactions in others stem from their own unacknowledged inner world. In this video, we're going to explore 7 subtle signs that someone might secretly harbor negative feelings towards you as you get older, drawing on Jung's powerful understanding of the human mind. Recognizing these signs isn't about paranoia. It's about protecting your energy and your peace, and understanding that often, it's not truly about you at all. Watch to the end, because I promise there's something profound that will truly surprise you. So let's begin with the first sign, one that can be particularly grating and pervasive: excessive criticism, especially about things that truly don't matter. Think about it. Have you noticed someone who seems to find fault with nearly everything you do, or say, or even how you choose to live your life? It's not constructive feedback. It's a relentless nitpicking, a constant stream of minor complaints. Perhaps they comment on your choice of clothes, your preference for a certain type of food, or even the way you arrange your living room. They might point out small errors, things you've overlooked, or trivial details that no one else would even notice. This isn't just someone having an off day, it's a pattern. Carl Jung understood that people often project their own unacknowledged flaws, insecurities, and dissatisfactions onto others. When someone is overly critical of you, especially for minor things, they might unconsciously be projecting their own internal struggles. Perhaps they feel a lack of control in their own lives, or they are deeply dissatisfied with their own choices, and rather than confront these uncomfortable truths within themselves, they aim their frustration outward, at you. It's easier to see the speck in your eye than the log in their own, isn't it? The real-life example of this is often seen in family gatherings. You might be telling a story, and someone interjects, not to add to the conversation, but to correct a minor detail that has no bearing on the narrative. "Oh no, Uncle John, it wasn't Tuesday, it was Wednesday afternoon." Or perhaps you're enjoying a hobby, and they casually remark, "That's an interesting way to do it. Most people do it differently." You know, it's not a suggestion, it's a veiled jab, designed to subtly diminish you. The actionable step here is to recognize this pattern and understand its source. When you realize that their criticism is likely a reflection of their own internal turmoil, it loses its power over you. You don't need to internalize it. A gentle way to respond, if you feel compelled, might be as simple: "I appreciate you noticing, but I'm comfortable with how I do things." Or simply changing the subject. You don't need to defend yourself or argue. Your peace is paramount. This brings us to the second sign: deliberate exclusion or ignoring. This is perhaps one of the most hurtful experiences, as it makes you feel invisible, unseen, and unimportant. It's not just an oversight. It's a calculated act of omission. Have you found yourself in a group setting where certain individuals consistently turn their backs to you, direct conversations away from you, or simply act as if you're not there? They might respond enthusiastically to others, make eye contact with everyone else. But when you speak, their gaze drifts, or they offer a perfunctory, dismissive nod. Jung believed that the shadow self, the parts of ourselves we deny or repress, can manifest in our interactions. When someone deliberately excludes you, they might be grappling with their own fear of being overlooked, of becoming irrelevant as they age. They might project that fear onto you, unconsciously pushing you away to avoid confronting their own anxieties about their place in the world. Or they might resent a perceived strength or quality in you that they lack. and rather than acknowledge it, they simply try to erase your presence. Imagine you're at a social gathering, and a group is deep in conversation. You approach, and as you try to contribute, their circle tightens, their voices drop, or they suddenly change the subject, or worse, they simply carry on as if you haven't spoken at all. It's not always overt. Sometimes it's the lack of an invitation, the exclusion from plans that others are privy to, or the feeling that you are consistently the last to know, or simply not considered at all. The key is to observe if this is a pattern, especially from certain individuals. To handle this, the most powerful thing you can do is to refuse to internalize their behavior. Your worth is not determined by their acknowledgement. Focus your energy on those who genuinely value your presence and engage with you. Seek out environments and people where you feel seen and appreciated. This isn't about running away from difficult situations, but about consciously choosing where you invest your precious time and emotional energy. Now that we've discussed how constant criticism and deliberate exclusion can be subtle indicators, let's consider a third sign, which often feels like a slow, insidious poison backhanded compliments or a consistently condescending tone. This sign is particularly insidious because it often comes disguised as kindness, yet leaves you feeling deflated and subtly belittled. A backhanded compliment is a statement that appears to be praise, but contains an underlying insult or a patronizing undertone. Someone might say, "You look great for your age," which, on the surface, seems nice, but carries the hidden message that you are, in fact, old, and it's surprising you look well. Or perhaps, "That's a lovely outfit. It's so brave of you to wear something so bright at your age." Again, what sounds like a compliment is laced with a judgment about your choices based on your age. The condescending tone often accompanies this. It's a way of speaking to you as if you are less intelligent, less capable, or less aware than they are. They might use a slow, overly simple language, or explain things to you that you clearly already know, often with a hint of exasperation in their voice. This isn't about patience. It's about a subtle assertion of superiority. Jung's insights into the ego and the collective unconscious help us understand this behavior. When someone uses backhanded compliments or a condescending tone, they might be struggling with their own feelings of inadequacy or envy. As people age, life often brings new challenges, and sometimes seeing someone else navigate their later years with grace, wisdom, or continued vitality can spark unconscious resentment in those who feel less secure in their own journey. They might unconsciously wish to diminish you to elevate themselves, or perhaps they're projecting their own internalized ageism onto you, believing that older people are inherently less capable or intelligent. Think of a scenario where you share an idea or a thought in a conversation, and someone responds with, "Oh, that's sweet. It's nice that you still have those ideas," accompanied by a patronizing smile. Or you mention a personal accomplishment, and they say, "Well, good for you for keeping busy. I suppose everyone needs a hobby." They're not truly celebrating you. They're subtly putting you in a box, diminishing your achievement. The actionable approach here is to recognize the veiled insult and refuse to let it chip away at your self-worth. You don't need to confront them directly every time, though sometimes a simple, "What exactly do you mean by that?" can expose their true intent and make them uncomfortable. More often, the most empowering response is to simply acknowledge the compliment with a brief thank you, and then move on, refusing to engage with the negative undertone. Your inner strength and self-respect are your best shields against this kind of subtle attack. By understanding these first three signs, excessive criticism, deliberate exclusion, and backhanded compliments, you're already gaining a clearer picture of the subtle ways resentment can manifest. Next, we'll dive into a fourth sign that can be particularly draining: constant comparison and competition. Udelblingber itinaatser. This sign is often rooted in deep insecurity within the other person, but it manifests as a relentless need to one-up you or to highlight how they are somehow better or more successful. As we get older, our lives often diverge significantly. Some may have achieved certain milestones, accumulated wealth, or simply found a certain kind of peace. Others may feel like they've fallen short, or that life hasn't been fair to them. When someone secretly resents you, They might unconsciously use you as a measuring stick. And if they perceive themselves as falling short, that resentment can intensify. This isn't about healthy competition. It's about a pathological need to diminish your achievements by highlighting their own, or by downplaying yours. Carl Jung's concept of the shadow is particularly relevant here. When individuals refuse to acknowledge their own feelings of inadequacy, envy, or regret, they might project these feelings outward, engaging in competitive behaviors as a way to cope with their inner turmoil. They might see your contentment or your small victories as a direct threat to their own fragile sense of self-worth. You might notice this in conversations where you share a positive experience. For instance, you mention a lovely trip you took, and instead of expressing genuine interest, they immediately launch into a story about a more extravagant or adventurous trip they had. Or you talk about a new skill you're learning, and they interject with how quickly they mastered something similar, or how they were doing that years ago. They aren't listening to you. They're waiting for their turn to outshine you. It's as if your light dims their own, and they feel the need to constantly reassert their brightness. Another common scenario is when they compare your health, your energy levels, or even your memory. If you mention feeling well after a walk, they might respond with, "Oh, I walked twice that far yesterday and didn't even break a sweat." This competitive spirit, disguised as casual conversation, is designed to make you feel less than. The actionable step here is to disengage from the comparison trap. You don't need to participate in their race. When they try to one-up you, a simple, non-committal response like, "That's nice," or "Good for you," is often enough. Change the subject, or politely exit the conversation if it becomes too draining. Remember, your journey is unique, and it doesn't need to be validated or compared by anyone else. Moving on. The fifth subtle sign of secret resentment is perhaps one of the most frustrating and invalidating gaslighting or dismissing your experiences and feelings. Gaslighting is a manipulative tactic where someone makes you doubt your own perceptions, memories, and sanity. It's a deeply unsettling experience that can make you question your own reality. When someone secretly resents you, they might employ this tactic to undermine your confidence and control the narrative. They might say things like, "That never happened," or "You're imagining things," or "You're being overly sensitive" when you try to express a genuine feeling or recall an event. This isn't just a disagreement. It's an attempt to invalidate your entire subjective experience. For older individuals, this can be particularly damaging, as there's a societal stereotype that older people are forgetful or prone to confusion. Someone who secretly resents you might exploit this stereotype, subtly suggesting that your age makes your perceptions unreliable. Carl Jung's work on the collective unconscious and the archetypes within it can help us understand why this is so hurtful. When our reality is dismissed, it touches on a fundamental human need to be seen, heard, and understood. When someone denies your reality, they are trying to strip away a part of your identity and your sense of self-worth. Imagine you bring up a shared memory, perhaps a family event, and someone says, "No, that's not how it happened at all. You always get things mixed up." Or you express feeling hurt by a comment they made, and they respond, "Oh, don't be so dramatic. I was only joking. You're too sensitive." They are not acknowledging your pain. They are denying its legitimacy. This can be incredibly disorienting. The actionable steps here are crucial for protecting your mental well-being. First, trust your own instincts and memories. If something feels off, it probably is. Second, validate your own feelings. You have a right to your emotions and experiences. You don't need their permission to feel what you feel. Third, and perhaps most importantly, avoid engaging in arguments where they are clearly trying to invalidate you. State your truth calmly, if you choose. But do not allow them to draw you into a cycle of self-doubt. You might say, "I remember it differently." Or, "Regardless of how you intended it, that's how it made me feel." Then, shift your focus. Your reality is valid, even if they refuse to acknowledge it. Moving right along. The sixth sign is often closely linked to envy, or a desire for control, a refusal to acknowledge your accomplishments or strengths. This sign is characterized by a consistent pattern of downplaying your successes, ignoring your positive qualities, or even outright dismissing your talents. When someone secretly resents you, they find it difficult, if not impossible, to genuinely celebrate your achievements. Your successes might highlight their own perceived failures or shortcomings, leading to an unconscious need to diminish your shine. Jung's concept of the shadow again comes into play here. If someone is struggling with their own unfulfilled potential, their own regrets, or feelings of being overlooked, seeing you thrive can trigger an uncomfortable internal response. Instead of reflecting on their own lives, they direct this discomfort outwards by refusing to acknowledge your strengths. They might do this subtly, by changing the subject when your accomplishments are mentioned, offering faint praise that quickly trails off, or by finding a way to attribute your success to luck or someone else's help rather than your own efforts. For example, you might share exciting news about a project you completed, a recognition you received, or even a personal goal you achieved, like mastering a new skill or recovering from a health challenge, instead of a genuine, "That's wonderful," or "I'm so proud of you." You might hear, "Oh well, anyone could do that," or "You just got lucky with that opportunity," or even a dismissive silence followed by them talking about something entirely unrelated. They might never offer a compliment, even when it's clearly warranted. Or if they do, it's so rare and begrudging that it feels hollow. The actionable step here is to understand that their inability to acknowledge you says nothing about your worth or your achievements, and everything about their own internal struggles. Don't seek validation from those who are unwilling or unable to give it. Celebrate your own victories, big or small. Share your joy with people who genuinely uplift you and feel happy for your successes. Their refusal to acknowledge your strengths is a reflection of their own shadow, not a reflection of your reality. And finally, let's move to the seventh sign, one that can be felt deeply. Even if it's hard to put into words, the energy drain. This sign is less about specific words or actions, and more about how you feel in someone's presence, and especially how you feel after interacting with them. Have you ever spent time with someone, and even if the conversation seemed pleasant on the surface, you left feeling utterly exhausted, drained, or even a little sad? It's as if they subtly leech your vitality, leaving you feeling depleted and heavy. This isn't just about being introverted or needing alone time. It's a specific kind of emotional fatigue that arises from certain interactions. When someone secretly harbors resentment, even if they don't express it overtly, that underlying negativity can create a subtle, oppressive energetic field. Their unconscious animosity can manifest as a psychic weight, and you, being an empathic human, pick up on it. Carl Jung would likely point to the concept of the complexes or unresolved emotional patterns within individuals. When someone carries unacknowledged negative emotions, be it envy, bitterness, or hidden anger, these complexes can project a subtle negative influence onto those around them. They might be unconsciously feeding off your positive energy, or simply radiating their own unresolved internal conflict, which you then absorb. Think of it this way. You walk into a room feeling vibrant and optimistic. You chat with this particular person for a while, and even though nothing overtly negative might have been said, by the time you leave, your mood has shifted dramatically. Your enthusiasm has waned. Your energy feels low, and you might even feel a sense of unease or sadness without being able to pinpoint why. It's like walking through a dense fog that leaves you feeling damp and chilled. They might monopolize conversations without truly listening, subtly undermine your opinions, or simply carry a heavy, unexpressed negativity that you implicitly feel. The actionable step here is to pay attention to your own body and emotions during and after interactions. Your intuition is a powerful guide. If certain individuals consistently leave you feeling drained, it's a strong indicator that their presence is not conducive to your well-being. It's not about blaming them. It's about protecting yourself. Limit your exposure to these individuals when possible. Create boundaries that shield your energy. You might politely excuse yourself from conversations, shorten visits, or simply choose to spend more time with people who uplift and energize you. Your peace and vitality are too precious to sacrifice. So, we've explored these 7 powerful signs: the relentless criticism, the deliberate exclusion, the backhanded compliments, the constant comparison, the invalidating gaslighting, the refusal to acknowledge your strengths, and that profound energy drain. These aren't just isolated incidents. They are patterns that speak volumes about another person's inner world, often reflecting their own unacknowledged struggles and projections. Just as Carl Jung wisely observed, remember, recognizing these signs is not about becoming suspicious of everyone around you. It's about cultivating a deeper awareness of your relationships and protecting your own precious peace and well-being as you navigate these later, often beautiful, years of life. You deserve to be surrounded by people who lift you up, who see your worth, and who genuinely celebrate your journey. Small changes in how you perceive and respond to these subtle signals can make a monumental difference in your health, your happiness, and your overall sense of contentment. Take these insights and use them to nurture relationships that truly enrich your life, and gently create distance from those that deplete you. You are valuable. Your experiences are valid, and your energy is sacred. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Have you recognized any of these signs in your own life? What strategies have you found helpful in dealing with them? Please share your experiences and insights in the comments below. Your wisdom might just be the guidance someone else needs. If this video resonated with you, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel for more content designed to help you live your most fulfilling life at every age. Thank you for being here. And remember, live your best life, vibrant and strong, always.